Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Double up on the intro. What's up with it? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother. Back at it. Bye-ya. 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 For those of you that don't like it, Spensa la tira. It's going down. In a menudo style in direct fashion, as you can tell by that thumbnail right there. Orale, lizard. Ashali, right? Ashali, Pitas, California, Pittsburgh, California native. Of course, a lot of people ask me questions. You know, I constantly get asked daily through DMs, through IG, through whatever the case may be. Hey, Gun, can you speak on this? Can you speak on that? What you know about this? What you know about that? Now, a lot of shit I won't talk about. You know, I don't feel that it's my business. I don't feel I should be speaking on certain subjects and certain things that are prevalent now. Okay, but this guy is a blast from the past. This is an individual that has been spoken on YouTube several different times, several different ways, and several different reasonings behind his name. You know, he did a lot and told a lot. But at the same time, we're not here to talk about his telling ways. We're here to talk about the switch up. You know, a lot of people ask me questions. Hey, have you ever been incarcerated? Have you ever seen Norteños switch up to be Southsiders? Or Southsiders switch up to be Norteños? Or Bulldogs switch? Beep, beep, boop, boop, boop. At the end of the day, menudo. Yes, I have. Indeed, I have. I wanted to tell you about Ashali first and foremost, as you see him on the thumbnail, because I think he played a big part in what happens and what's going on now concerning certain organizations, right? He got that ball rolling. You know, he was the main culprit in taking down a lot of good gente, a lot of respectable people, a lot of people that, you know, just got taken down just based off his agenda, his words, and his reasons behind whatever the case may be. Now, at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there. That's part of the game. You got to soak that up to guard. They're telling on me. Yes, they've been telling on you. Soak it up to the game. Chalk it up, because that's what it is. When you're living a lifestyle, a certain lifestyle, whether it be the criminal lifestyle, gang related, or a D-boy or a PI, or fucking you're out there just with a big chorra swinging like me, you're going to get told on, because you're going to get hated on. There's envy. There's people that have reasons for what they do. Now, you can't call it like an alcoholic. You can't stop the next man from going into the police station and saying, you don't need it, man. So scared was him, right? You know what I mean? Eating Doritos y todo, man. You know what I mean? All it is you just got to take it on the chinny chin chin, hums, huff and puff, and blow someone else's house down and go your own route. Because guess what, Big Bad Wolf? That's what the game entails, man. The game entails a lot of treachery, a lot of disloyalty, a lot of cowardice acts and things of that nature. And people tend to do that. Now, this guy, Ashali, who was very well known for that, also is not known for something else he done. Okay? According to the stories I've heard of him, I never had the privilege of actually sitting down and meeting this man. I wouldn't even call it a privilege. I would just say I never had the chance to be on the same yarda or sit down and talk to him. I do know of individuals that know him personally. I do know individuals that happened to meet him after the fact when he was on the run. And one thing I can say about this individual is he was not the one to be played with. He definitely was a bigger man, someone that you looked at, and when you seen him, you felt intimidated. You knew he was about that business. I guess just the look in his eye told you that story. A lot of people know him. He has notoriety from the show Gangland, where he did portray a certain guy on there named Casper. But his real name, or his real placazo, was Daniel Lizard Hernandez, or also known as Ashali. Now, of course, when he was on Gangland, you know, he spoke he had certain mannerisms about himself, and he spoke a certain way. So that captivated the attention of the audience. A lot of people said, damn, was this Vato really about it? I'm here to tell you he was at one point. He definitely was about the situation. Now, trip out on this. People wanted to ask me this question, and I'm going to answer. Do Vato switch up? Well, there's a prime example of the switch up artist. Sasuke, he used to bat left, and then he went right. This Vato went southpaw, unorthodox on their ass, right? He shorty swing my way. He swang both ways, right? I don't know what his pronoun is. All I do know is at the end of the day, he started out as a Southsider. He definitely was fraternizing on the guys and doing a lot of business, allegedly, with Southsiders, and that's who he was running with. Now, he's from Pittsburgh, California, but he's not originally from Pittsburgh, California. He did migrate from Southern California to Pitas, California, which is located in the Bay Area. So obviously, man, he started to run out there, and he only knew the South. When that's all you know, that's what you're going to gravitate towards. Now, I've ran into dudes that, you know, grew up down in LA, moved up north, and they started rocking with the Norte, at a very young age, and vice versa. And that's just being a product of your environment. Hey, if that's all that there is, fuck it. If you can't beat them, join them, right? Vatos will just join. There are some vatos that come and establish their own fucking flags. I'm here. It's just, boom. He was there, right? And that's just what it is. And some are able to establish and plant flags and recruit and so on and so forth. Allegedly, we're not going to speak on that. But one thing I will say is this. Ashley definitely migrated from down south to up north, Pittsburgh, California, Pitas, home of the Jacka, you know what I mean? Where he decided that for no other reason to start hanging around with the Southerners, the upstate Sureños, or Southsiders, and he started to fraternize, have business relations, and whatever the case may be. When this man was incarcerated and sent to San Quentin prison, of course, he got there as a brown man. He obviously had to pick one or the other side. Now, for those of you that don't know, in San Quentin, the yard is divided, okay? For the most part, that is a northern facility. It has always been a stronghold for norteños. They have always had several amounts and abundance of northerners, right? An abundance of norteños are there coming out of all the Bay Area cities, you know, like Concord, Vallejo. You got fucking San Francisco, Oakland. Everybody's in San Quentin. That is a reception. That's where you go to first establish your foundation, and then you spread your wings and say, okay, why am I in fucking high desert? Because that's what your points say, yes, sir, right? But I ain't trying, but you're there. Can I go to Susanville at least? We'll go there with all the white guys, the White House, Susie's house. You know what I mean? Fuck the, I'll go back to high desert then, right? So I just can't sprinkle the woods in, brother. Now, trip out. This vato gets to San Quentin and has actually a family member. You know, for those of you that don't know the story, I haven't heard it more than once or twice, he started to gravitate, of course, towards this family member, and this family member being, you know, a high-ranking norteño at the time, or someone even elevated past that, started to indoctrinate him and pull him. Okay, he felt that if for no other reason, this clecha that he was getting, this education that he was getting indoctrinated with, was the route to go. So he did indubitably switch sides and chose to rock with the North over the South. Now, it's a very rare thing. It's not something you see every day. I've had the privilege or the honor of seeing it a few times. What did I think about it? I thought it was very frivolous. I thought it was a poop butt tactic. But at the same time, you know, I'm not that man. I'm not walking in his state boots. So I don't know exactly what his life entails. I don't give a fuck, to tell you the truth. But at the end of the day, I watched it from a distance. Strike the Heisman on him. Dion, prime time. So Ashley definitely did that. Now, after that, of course, he fully fledged, dedicated himself to the Northern cause, to which he started to ride profusely, if that's the word to use, right? He started to handle his business indubitably. And of course, he was caught up in one thing that led to another, that led to two more others. And eventually, man, he found himself in a position to be part of an organization or a group allegedly that exists or maybe doesn't. And he became part of that group and so on and so forth. We all know how that story ended. He done told on everybody, right? Fuck it. He said, you know, Saskia, send me to Idaho, eh? And that's it. It was either Brazil or Idaho. He wanted to go to Idaho. You know, he is no longer with us. He has passed away subsequently, according to stories that I've heard. And it is what it is. But I think he's the most notorious figure that was ever able to switch and actually do that smoothly. The transition was without hiccups. You know, I think Vatos back in them days when he was incarcerated didn't really trip. You know, this Vato being from the Bay Area, it being a northern facility already, probably assumed that he was a norteño anyways. So the transition was a smooth character. He did the smooth criminal like Michael. Like Mike Jack, right? So he did the Mike Jack on him, moonwalked and backed on up and went with the North. And of course, man, like I said, his career took him down certain paths, ultimately, you know, to his fucking demise. And that was what it was. Now, also with this question, you know, I've had chances at seeing this thing happen right before my eyes. I seen it happen in the CYA. When I was in Nellis, okay, and let me tell you this little story. I said, I'm gonna tell it, hey, I can't hold it, I'm gonna tell it, right? Facts. So when I was in YA, there was a fucking thing called the caja, the box, which you guys know as the hoyo, the hole. We called it the caja, the box. The rooms were square shaped. That's where they threw us. I don't know why they called it that down south. Just, hey, you're going to the caja. Even the cops said, hey, come on, you're going to the box. It was the box. So I'm sitting there in the hole, and I remember I got into a riot. I had gotten to a riot in the school area, so I was going to be sitting down for at least a month or 2 months, which was like a vacation for me because I didn't have to fight every day. I didn't have to worry about the Southsiders shooting me behind my head, right? So I was cool. Go ahead and sit me down and feed me my motherfucking bologna sandwich. So I'm posted up like a thumbtack, and I remember there was a wire, kind of like Tracy, if you've ever been there. There's a back window. It was a mesh window, a screen window, so you could basically talk to your neighbors or talk to whoever was on the wire, everyone down that tier. You could only yell to about 3 or 4 cells down before it got distorted and it sounds, I can't hear you. Take the fucking beep out your mouth. Who said I had a beep on my mouth? Well, sounds like it. Hey, are you telling people? You know what I mean? Then it was all bad. There was a vaulter that got there. He came from a Northern California facility and he called himself Danny Boy. And he proclaimed to be from the Fresno Bulldogs. Right? Now, there was already a Danny Boy there from Eastside Fresno. Okay, at this time, the Bulldogs had split up from the Norteños. The Bulldogs were on a fucking side of a building called Taft. That's where they were programming. That's where they had all the Bulldogs located at, on Taft. There was a mixture of Southsiders and Bulldogs. Of course, they were single-celled or double-celled, but they couldn't get at each other like that, right? It was one, when they pop a door, it was just bring the Bulldogs out or just bring the Southsiders out. They never fucked up. The cops, they didn't want that smoke. Valtas would have put pico de gallos in people, right? Menudo style. But they'd be all on one side. Well, he was actually in the oil. I didn't hear about this guy rolling up. I didn't know to what degree of rolling up he did, but eventually he got to the caja for a fight. So when he gets there, he's my neighbor. Boom, boom, boom. I hit the wall like you do, respectfully. Hey, Holmes, who are you? Where you from? He said, they call me Danny Boy from from Fresno Bulldogs. I said, Danny Boy, right? I was automatically assuming that this was the same Danny Boy that I knew of that was on Taft. And I go, when they move you over here? Right? He was like, nah, I just rolled up last night. I got off in the dorm and I'm here. And I said, oh, all right, trip out. There's another Danny Boy from Eastside Fresno. Hey, anyways, I'm a Norteño, Holmes. And this conversation is going to cease and desist right now. We're not going to have this conversation because at that time I was playing them games. Fuck them mother vatos, eh? And they were feeling the same way. So it was like, all right, dog. Shit, do your thing. Big dog, right? So that's, I'm going to do it over here in a huelga fashion. I knew what I was. And no disrespect, that's just how it was back then. So I would hear him fraternize with other people on the tira. No big deal. Ahuila somehow, some way got pushed to Danny Boy and Joey Boy over there from Fresno. To which Danny Boy responded, hey, there ain't no other Danny Boy from Fresno. I'm the only one. I don't know who this poop butt thinks he is, but he ain't no perro chato, right? I never voiced my opinion on that. I happen to lay eyes on the Huila. To who wrote that Huila and sent it to him? I don't know. One never knows. Does one? The wind blew that day. But he definitely got the Huila and reciprocated one back saying, I don't even know who that poop butt is. Okay, bang. Again, I'm not going to pass the message on because fuck that puto, right? He wasn't my people. Wasn't none of my business how mixed up and confused I was. Or was I? One never knows, does one, but trip out on this. So the vato, he's over there next door, and he likes to run his fucking dick sucker. He likes to bump baking soda breath all over the window. I bet you it smelled like mierda, right? Because he would always be screaming and yelling out of his window. Well, one day a vato from Baker's rolls up. Orderly Bakersfield, shout out and respects, right? A real one. A vato from Baker's 13 rolls up. And this vato's pretty known. I had been on several compas with him, so I knew exactly who he was. So he gets there, he hollers down, hey, who's on the tira? I said, what's cracking, Tweety? His name was Tweety. He said, who's that? I said, this is Skinner from Merced. He said, all right, now, Holmes, respects. I said, mine's, you know what it is. I already know what it is. And that's the type of relationship that me and him had. You knew what it was. If the door's cracked, I'm going to hurt you. Bad, right? That's what it was. But there was no sense of disrespecting and yelling. There was vatos that did that. Cell warriors. We weren't on that hype, man. We were on some, we like metal. Right? We were on that metal hype. We were heavy metal. We listened to heavy metal. I said, while motherfuckers was over there bumping, John B was bumping Megadeth. You understand what I'm saying? We was riding the lightning. So anyways, we're doing our thing, kicking back. And this vato Danny Boy is quiet for 2 days, which is kind of, it's just something he hasn't done, right? And I'm wondering, well, come to find out, I'd find out that evening after chow, he definitely was trying to hide from this guy. He recognized this guy on the tier. So Danny Boy starts to get out his fucking cell. He's getting at his neighbor. And this vato tweet, he says, hey, who's that? And he says, Bento who, right? He said, who's that? Danny Boy. Danny Boy, where you from? He said, I'm from Fresno. He said, damn, bro, you sound like my homeboy Fat Cat, right? Without saying too much, it was Fat Cat, right? To what degree of this guy switching up and why he did this, I'll never know. But he fed him some bullshit ass story. Oh, I was just trying to be undercover so I could get to over there with the Bulldogs and I could book some. Charlie, we were already there for a month, bro. He was Bulldog Nation in that motherfucker. He was dogging it up. Right? He was getting his perro chato on. That motherfucker had fucking puppy chow hanging out his fucking... He was a dog, right? His homeboy checked him, hey, trip out, homes keep Bakersfield out your mouth. You're fucking fat cat from Baker's homes. You ain't no good, whoop-de-whoop. So everyone started to run their necks and whoop on this individual. Hey, fat cat, you fat fucking piece of tub of lard, right? They would go in on him. I would kick back and listen, and I'm writing everything down. Oh, so the Vato's name is Fat Cat, the Bakers, huh? Órale, pues, right? And yepa, right? I'm on my shit. I'm basically staying aware of who I targets. Of course, everyone went in. This guy started saying fuck you to everyone, disrespecting everyone's neighborhoods, their dead homies, throwing fucks, all kinds of things. Yeah, I am Fat Cat from Baker's. What? I played you guys all out of pocket. Nah, you didn't play us. That's you played yourself. Now, to what reason he did that, I've come to find out later on, talking to Tweety back on the linea, on the Compa Madison, was that Vato had some dirt on his name, man, and didn't want to proclaim where he was really from. So we thought if he would slide into Fresno Bulldogs, the Fresno Bulldogs being apart from the Norteños and not really getting along with the Southsiders yet, not really beefing too much, he would be able to slide by. He didn't. He got a month reign, and then that was it. He was back to being Fat Cat, only he was Levon now. No more female raza for you, buddy. The only other time I seen a situation like this happen, and then I heard about another situation, was there was a vato named Toker from Saho. And I remember when Toker from Saho got there, was a homeboy. He was a Norteño. I remember, man, he got into a couple riots, a couple little one-on-ones. He ends up going to the oil. I don't know what happened. I show up to the oil. I'm like, hey, Tokes, what's happening, Holmes? He was like, hey, they don't call me Toker anymore. I said, what do you mean they don't call you Toker? You changed your placazo just like that? Back in them days, vatos would change their name, so it wasn't nothing new. I was like, so what do they call you now? Fucking smoker? You know what I mean? You always look like a little smoker. He said, nah, homie, they call me fucking B-Rock from Pasadena, Denver Lane Bloods. I was like, what? They vato done switched up. He was a sangre now. The vato fucking thought he was DJ Quick. I swear to God, when he went in, he had a bald head with a Mongolian. He came out with a fucking perm looking like Crazy Bone. It was different, right? He definitely stuck to that grind and did actually get out and start functioning with the sangres. So I can't hate on the situation, man. He just decided that for no other reason that was the route he was going to go. Now, I told you guys about Joker the San Leandro, Davis Street Locals. My shoes. Gunner, why are you taking my shoes? I don't know. They don't fit me, but I'm going to keep these sons of bitches, right? Hey, tell your jefita I need size fucking 10 and a half next time. Your feet are big. I also have a big pipa, but you know what I mean? We'll save that room for later. You know what I mean? Straight up trip out on this. The vato, he did switch up later on years, I heard. You know, just inquiring to certain homeboys about him, they're like, oh yeah, I know that fool Joker. Hey, that vato actually went to prison and became a Southsider, man. That's the route he went. Did his whole time. I don't know if he did it righteously or what ended up happening. But I guess fucking we ridiculed him and basically fucking, I don't want to say bully, but I guess we were bullies with fullies. You know what I mean? What you got about 40, Craig? We was on our Debo shit. Young bully, getting on some tough shit. The boy skin, wrong homie to fuck with, right? I need them shoes, right? So anyways, we were doing our thing, and he definitely switched up, and I guess he fucking progressed as what he was. And I ain't mad, man. People in life can be whatever you want to be. So when I get old, I'm going to be an astronaut. Are you, puto? Yeah, because I'm going to go back and get my GED, and my mom told me she'd drop me off in Florida and just leave me there. And fuck it, I'll walk from there to NASA and say, I'm going to fucking fly to the moon. Is that right? Sasuke, here, hit that. Now you're on the moon, eh? You know what I mean? It's just that simple. Anyways, I just wanted to answer some of the questions that are asked. I get a lot of questions that are asked of me, and people always want to know, do vatos switch up? They do. They do, you know. I've told a story, and I want to respectfully say this. Shout out to my boy Dreamer the Corco, you know what I mean? Bulldogs. He was an individual that is different from these guys. A lot of these guys, they switched up for one reason or another, whether they were hiding some bad case or whether they were just confused or whether they just fucking, you know, I can't really say nothing about Toker. I just don't know why he went that route. I'll never know the story. But Joker, I'm sure he was fucking befuddled with the Norte, so he decided to go that route. When it comes to the homeboy Dreamer from Corco Bulldogs, who actually fucking booked me at one point in time. We were enemigos. And we know that story. He gravitated from a Norteño to a Bulldog and stuck with it like a motherfucking ant does on a motherfucking piece of fucking licorice, right? He did his thing and did it righteously. Those of the individuals that do know him, have had function with him, NYA or prison, will only tell you good stories and good things about this individual. Like I said, man, I don't really fucking, I don't like vatos that stab me. Okay, I just don't, I don't condone it. But this is an individual that I forgive and forget, because I'll never forget, but I forgive because at the end of the day, man, he was doing exactly what he was. It was not in personal homes. It was all professional. And the way he carried himself and the way he handled his business, can no one deny it. You know, that's just facts. Anyways, people do switch up. People do go a different route, man. Hey, more power to them. It's up to you, homes. You only have one life to live. You better live it to the fullest. That's it. Doesn't matter what you claim, homes. It matters how you, the content of your character and how you carry yourself at the end of the day, right? Sasuke, I've always been from where I'm from, but that's just what it is. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of that motherfucking day, homes, when that day ends, it doesn't matter where you're from, homes. You're a product of your environment. Sasuke, this day you could be a Komikat, the next day you could be a Kiwi. I don't even understand. Say it with your chest, though, on Power Rule. That's one thing I do know is you better always say it with your chest, because if you don't, someone's going to cave your whole cavity in. Facts. You know what I mean? You're going to fuck around and get your molar knocked out. You're going to get your whole dentures, your whole frontal knocked out your dental. With that being said, if you like this, hit that like and subscribe with a thumbs up. If not, I hope I answered the question. You can hit me with the thumbs down if you don't like me, man. I'm going to wear that motherfucking crown. You already know what it is, man. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and do what I does, man. I'm trying to bring you guys the best possible content. Make sure you guys tune in because I'm going to be having reactions coming out. I finally dialed it in. So let's get Spence on the first one. I know my mic was fucked up. I'm ghetto. What do you expect? You know what I mean? You know how many roaches I had to knock off the mic before I could speak into it? Sasuke, the struggle is real. You guys just don't know. Sasuke, I got sores all over my ass from bed bugs. I'm just kidding, right? With that being said, you already know what it is, man. Hey, fill me up with Let It. Yeah, because I said it. This is the gun. Bang, bang. And in that fashion. Bean cheese bed bugs all over my back.